Hello there, viewers of High Television. This is Press Brief for the day Tuesday, the 5th of December 2023. On this program, the newspapers always come first. We'll be back to give you what they are saying. Once more, welcome on board the program Press Brief for today. For presentation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start off with the Sun newspaper. The publication from Limbe of Nobelwaso for this day have as lead story. It says 2024 Finance Bill Government Fires Brigade Approach causes rumples in National Assembly following the outing of the Prime Minister Joseph Diangote yesterday, recently, or at the hemicycles of the lower house of the legislature. We take you now to Bamenda. Nigerian diplomat, Northwest governor discuss security initiatives, and University of Boya launches DigiCare Cameroon project. Get to read that story on that said paper. Cameroon's Dr. Ekongwe Ebwe received Turks 2023 Prince William Award, and we'll move over to SDF strategizing to win upcoming elections. That is what the chairman Joshua Osi talks on page 5. Bamenda City Mayor says undergoing transformation. The town of Bamenda is undergoing transformation thanks to the C2D plan from the French government. Le Jour of Manmana for today talks of the West region. How filling stations are there without hydrocarbon products. You can find that story of the West region on Luju newspaper for this day. The World Cup handball tournament for the women category talks of the Indomitable Lionesses qualifies for the second round of that tournament. Cameroon Ballon d'Or that will be taking place on the 16th of December 2023. We take you now to Emergence for this day. And Emergence says of the road network in the country, 41% of our roads are in the completely bad states. You can find that story on that said paper for today. Political life, he says PCRN party maintains she will continue with her congress in Kribi in the south region. That is what the party president Cabral Libre talks on that paper. National Assembly, the paper reports on the assault of Jean-Michel Nyonche against Joshua Osi. We'll move over to the Martinez Zogo affair. It says the civil party or civil society are asking for this inquiry to be made known. Get to read more on that paper for this morning. Aiding of late Zach Zangadambo for today says ruling from hideout, villagers want funds chiefs to return to palaces, urges government to beef up security. You can find that story of Aiding from Limbe for today. The mining sector, Cameroon's interim minister of mines Fokalitos Gentro says Cameroon transition from potential to production nation. We move over to Golden Awards 2023. Landmark Metropolitan University awarded most innovative university. Let's take you now to this one of the story that talks of Andek ecstasy ahead of the Vista 2023. Away from Eden, we move over to Agri du Sahel for today. Talks of Afrique Inform Awards. He says His Majesty Buka Tikiri was voted best mayor in Cameroon from the north, best mayor from the Grand North region. That is what you can find on that said paper. The chiefdom of Yagwai, the paper reports on the dynasty of war in terms of wood. Kondenge Marafa Medu Yaya forgotten by the system. You can find that story from the northern region of the country. The Nation now over to Nigeria says government others prop after airstrike killed civilians. And that sets paper from Legacy says Nigerian delegation to COP28 is 422, says minister. But went further to say Idris least gains of summit. Oil sector in Nigeria hit by influx of foreign welders. Former Central Bank Governor of Nigeria Godwin Emefiele seeks violation of bail conditions. Get to read that story on that said paper for today. Remember Nigerian tabloids with the Punch. The Punch talks of outrage as warplane kills 87 in Kaduna village bombing. And that says paper of the Punch, 336 Boko Haram terrorists convicted for financial jail. And Nigerian President Ahmed Bola Tinubu says funding of 422 delegates to COP28 meeting in Dubai, UAE wasteful, opposition tells federal government. We move over to family panics as 13-year-old school girl disappears in Lagos. Away from that human interest story ushers us into Punch Sports Extra. The sports paper for today says MVPs as the most valuable players of the year. Get to read that story on the set paper for today. Felix relief after haunted Atletico de Madrid, and we take you to Manchester United plan 26 British pounds 26 million British pounds Sancho van der Beek sales. And we'll move over to Arsenal in the paper report on Gunners face haters first time in 32 years. Away from the sports paper, we now divert over to Cameroon with Mutation of Thierry Diaga. It talks of the candidature of Frank Emmanuel Olivier Bia. The paper titles that are citing the spirit. Get to read that story on that said paper. Constant power outages in Cameroon. The paper gives a dissect on what Enyo needs to do in order to valorize that situation. La Voix du Jeune for today talks of basic education. It says the war against unsafe music by the Minister of Basic Education, Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa. Get to read details on that on the pages of La Voix du Jeune for today. We now move over to Controverteur de Economie for today. The paper reports on Samana Amadou Ali, Grand Officer of Honor, crowned by the Central African Republic. Get to read that story on that said paper for this day. Togo, the paper reports on 2,166.1 billion CFA francs adopted for the execution of 2024 budget in the Togolese nation. We're taking out to bad governance. The paper reports on more than 12 billion CFA francs embezzled in 2023. Away from that economic newspaper, let's take you to Emergence for this morning. Emergence for today's reporting on the road sector. That says 41% of the roads in Cameroon are in their bad shape. Get to read that story on that said paper. National Assembly, the assault against Joshua Osei from the front of Jean Ninche. Innovation for today talks of the obstacles for development in the far north, in the Grand North region of the country, according to Mahamat Zabrin. And Douala, the paper reports on the bilateral relationship between Cameroon and the People's Republic of China when it comes to key economic engagement. And we'll take you to the road sector in the country. The paper talks on some 508 billion CFA francs was put for the management of or construction of roads network will be put in the management and construction of roads network for 2024. Get to read that story on that said publication for this day. Relative news of Paul for this morning talks of Governor Lily Afrique of the Northwest region. West assures the population of a successful and smooth end of year festivity across the 7 divisions that constitutes the Northwest region. He was speaking during a security and administrative coordination meeting that took place in the town of Santa in the Northwest Northwest region. We'll move over to this workshop on governance and infrastructure that talks of the Central African Republic that gains the Central African sub-region, I beg your pardon, that gains more skills by the participants over there. Away from that, the advocates of Tabitha Enobika talks of fighting hate speech. It says Central African journalists want state commitment. Gets read a story on that said paper. Nigerian diplomats, Northwest governor discuss peace security action. Manual female CSOs leaders whip for Egbeko carnage victim as Shada partner to donate to victims in that Egbeko carnage of Mamfe. Governance for today talks of this one. Governance press for this morning talks on this one from the minister Andre Ayebe IC on how the performance rate of the Ministry of State Properties and Land Tenure is gaining scheme. You're going to find a story on that said paper for this day. To the build-up of elections at the Cameroon Medical Council, the paper talks on the manifesto of Dr. Mangato that who says priority on his agenda will be good working condition in the health sector. In that health sector, we cross over now to the health paper of Quotidien Eco-Santé for this morning. Quotidien Eco-Santé talks of the 7 candidates who wants to be the fourth president of the Cameroon Medical Council. What's their manifesto all about? Gets to read that on that paper of Eco-Santé Quotidien for this day. Vitamin A, the paper talks of the campaign of supplement given to children less below the month of 6 and 59. Get to read that story on the health paper of Quotidien Eco-Santé for this morning. Crossing over to the Chapeau of Carol Tamba for this day. It talks of the African Coach Week. The East Region welcomes 2023 edition. You can find that story on that said paper. We take you now to the just ended Ngondo Festival for the Grand Sawa people in the littoral region. It talks of the end of the festival Ngondo for the 2023 edition. You want to find that story on that publication for this morning. Over to the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post of Christian Gar reports at close of cultural festival in Yaoundé, Acha Rose restate Momo's stand for united and indivisible Cameroon, and the Bankers Awards 2023 UBA crown Africa's Bank of the Year. And we take you now to this one from the Minister of Basic Education, Professor Laurence Shetundingwa, that says Minister warned against the use of obscene music in the school milieu during graduation ceremony and school festivity. As Minister Professor Laurence Shetundingwa said this will stop henceforth. Away from that, let's take you now to the voice of Randy Josa that celebrates 500th edition of publication. It says milestone achievement in turbulent media landscape. You get to read that story and I said paper for this day. As US-based company engages in Cameroon energy firm in legal battle. We'll move over to this one from Bamenda, Consul General for the Southwest and Northwest region. Present new executive of the Nigerian community to Northwest Governor Lily Afrique Adolf. That was over the weekend. Release of Martinez Zogo murder suspect capsizes. Get to read that story on page 9 on The Voice for this morning. From The Voice, we take you now to the media, and the median of Stephen Ojong reports on harassed by opposition MPs. John Gote says red in Parliament. And You and the Law, coalition of the willing lawyers advocates better rights for foreigners living in the country, Cameroon. Oil and gas sector of the country, this says US-based RSM production bans on crippling Cameroon company. We'll move over to humanitarian action. Barrister Kongo Agbo Felix supports Egbeko massacred victim in Mamfe. Away from that publication, let's take you now to the next paper we are having on our newsstands. That is Nouvelle Horizon, a report on the importation of fishery products in the country that witnessed an increase of 27.3% and some 190,000 tons of fishery products that were being exported. You get to read that story on that said publication. The First Lady of the country, Chantal Biya, celebrates her 53rd birthday in pomp over there at the east wing of the Unity Palace in the country. The Point newspaper for this day comes back to the just ended COP28 meeting in Dubai in the UAE. The paper reports on that as in continuity. Get to read that story on that paper. And cold case, the paper talks of His Grace Jean Kuno. Get to read more on that said paper for this morning. Crossing over to the next publication we are having for this day. The next paper for today will be taking you now to this one on Terre Premier Hebdo that talks of the Gabonese junta president, that is Oligui Nguema, who will be coming to Yaoundé. It says despite all, get to read more on the coming to Yaoundé on the Gabonese military junta president, that is Oligui Nguema. We'll take you to the modernization of Yaoundé for 2024. The paper gives a dissect on the outing of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestin Kecha Cortez, who sees a new beautiful dream for the political capital city of Yaoundé. Get with that story on that set publication for today. The project, the finance law for 2024 by the state of Cameroon witnessed another resilience and increase. That is what you can read on that set publication for this day. From Terre Premier Hebdo, we take you now to L'Activateur. L'Activateur talks of the Roman Catholic Church, Monseigneur Jean Baraga in Olangina. You can find that story on that set paper for this day. We take you now to this one from the set paper that reports on the movement of 30 million franchises across the country, Cameroon. That's what you can find on that set paper for this morning. Let's take it. Let's bar out of the studio with the last paper we are having for today. That is Info Matin for this morning report on basic education. The paper talks on the closure of some specialized school for children living with disability. You can find that story on that said paper for this morning. We'll move over to Jungle Justice. It says a purported thief was set alight over there in Obala in the central region for having stolen. You can find that story on page 4 on Info Matin newspaper for this day. With Info Matin viewers of High Television, this is where we'll put a cap on this edition of the program Press Brief for this fine Tuesday morning, the 5th of December 2023. With that, we urge you all to stay in the company